What's up, Kart Masters? I have a special video for you this time. Thanks to my friends at Bethesda, I was able to get my hands on Deathloop, a new first-person shooter developed by the studio that brought you Dishonored, Arkane Lyon. Having spent about at least 10 plus hours into the game, I'd like to go over some of the pros and cons of Deathloop based off of my first impressions of the video game to help you figure out whether or not Deathloop is the right game for you. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment below as to what your thoughts of the game were, drop a like as it helps the channel out, and smash that subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when I upload next. Without further ado, let's get to it. Without spoiling too much of the story outside of what's been shown in trailers, Deathloop's story takes place on an island called Black Reef, where main character, Colt, finds himself in a never-ending loop. When the day is over, everything reverts back to the way it was. In order to break said loop, Colt must find a way to assassinate all 8 Visionaries on the island within a single loop. He must do so while being chased by Julianna, who tries to defend the loop by hunting and killing Colt. Obviously, as the game is primarily single-player focused, Deathloop will appeal mostly to gamers who love a story-driven first-person shooter, in addition to gamers who enjoy solving puzzles, with roguelike mechanics, which we'll go into more later, and also to people who enjoy a good chain of creative assassinations and kills. I'm looking at you, Dishonored fans. Colt, in addition to the Visionaries, have a whole lot of personality. Each set themselves apart from another with their own unique personalities and lines, and carry both not only serious enough tones, but brings about good humor whenever it's appropriate. Especially in the eyes of Colt, who at first has trouble piecing together everything, gets wittier and wittier with each of his dialogues.
Hey Colt, fuck you.
Sure, your place or mine?
I've been to your place, it's filthy.
So that's a yes?
Deathloop manages to mix a bunch of genres of games together to form a very unique but synergetic playing experience. Both melee and gun combat is fun and responsive. Guns can have varying rarities with different perks, while stronger guns can be found and unlocked the more and further you get into the game. Assassinations can be carried out with or without the machete actively held, and many of the assassination animations are incredibly satisfying. Trinkets can be found throughout the game in various places, including enemy drops, which can either improve at different aspects of your guns, such as accuracy and rate of fire, or can grant Colt different abilities, such as crouch walking at a faster speed or the ability to double jump. Slabs, on the other hand, are items that allow you to get other superpowers. Colt automatically starts off with the reprise slab, which allows him to die up to 3 times, which will then force the loop to restart. So long as he manages to change districts, or if he manages to kill a Visionary, his ability to revive 3 times gets reset. As the game progresses and the Visionaries and Julianna are challenged, the player will gain other powers that can ultimately make them much more deadlier in stealth and gun action, or can make them much more versatile in solving platforming problems. For example, the shift slab allows for the players to teleport both horizontally and vertically up to a certain distance, while the Kinesis slab allows players to basically Jedi Force push enemies. The slabs ultimately unlock the player's potential for creativity in all aspects of gameplay. Though the game sports a limited number of maps, thanks to the time cycle, it ultimately changes up which areas of each map are either accessible or locked out to the player. The game is filled with lots of notes, documents, emails, conversations, and all other sorts of things that will help the players not only progress the main story, but also give hints or whereabouts where they might find solutions to other side puzzles and quests, in addition to alternative solutions for the main story, such as a pathway that allows for a stealthier entry. The nature of the game looping in an endless cycle is where the roguelike mechanics kick in. Everything found in each loop is completely randomized, but are lost at the end of the day or when the loops are restarted, either through time passing by completely or by Colt dying. This means guns, trinkets, and even slabs can be lost. However, by utilizing the game system of infusing, players can spend residuum to keep weapons, abilities, and upgrades that are found or unlocked during each subsequent loop. All discoveries and information found in each loop is automatically retained so that you can revisit different areas with new solutions. If at first you don't succeed in getting everything all at once or end up getting killed mid-loop, die, and die again to get back up and try it all over again. Or try something new to solve your problems. People that have played any Soulsborne games are no stranger to the system, but the way that Deathloop handles PvP is through Julianna. While Colt is fighting to break the loop, Julianna fights to defend it. During parts of the game, Colt will be hunted by AI-controlled Julianna. Should the players enable it, random players or their friends can invade each other's games as Julianna and hunt down Colt. As you play as Julianna and accomplish different achievements, you can earn different types of rewards. For players that don't want to run the risk of getting mauled by super cracked players, can opt out of the multiplayer experience entirely. It is completely optional. Especially as the game can get very fast-paced, it can be pretty easy to experience a bit of motion sickness. Especially after I had unlocked the ability to shift, I found myself getting a little queasy during extended long periods and high tense situations where I had to bob and weave through enemies in addition to other obstacles to get to safety. Not sure if this was a result of my monitor, as I've never felt motion sickness while playing a first-person shooter before, but let this be a word of caution to the easily susceptible to motion sickness. Just be sure to take breaks. With how immersive the game can be, it also throws a mess load of information at the player. From leads on the Visionaries and arsenals to discoveries that are made during the loop, there is so much information to keep track of, let alone be discovered, that it can feel incredibly overwhelming. Though the game does a good job of keeping the player on track by offering trackers that are toggable in the menu, in addition to giving previews of what potential objectives can be accomplished during specific parts of the day in the loop on any given map, it doesn't change the fact that solving side puzzles unless you focus on one objective at a time. For example, in order to access the Moxie in Updam, which is an area where you can play a series of games to earn trinkets, can only be accessed during the afternoon. If you try to visit any other time, it'll be closed. However, the mini-games can be quite hard and gate you from getting the quote-unquote ultimate prize. However, if you visit Updam during the morning, you'll be able to find access to a console that, when hacked, makes the games much easier to win. There are sometimes, at least during my time with the game, inconsistencies with the AI, most notably during high alert situations. I accidentally got discovered by one of the enemies, which alerted the rest of the enemies in the area. Despite having broken line of sight and getting much higher on a roof, they somehow managed to spot me and shot me from a crazy far distance. In some cases, enemies magically appeared right behind me, which made a lot more sense, while in other cases, there wasn't anyone around me to spot and report me. It could be just that maybe my luck is incredibly bad, or maybe the AI is a lot more cracked than I thought. Either way, it wasn't entirely consistent throughout my time playing the game, but maybe this is just a matter of luck. For any super duper casual gamers out there that just want to experience the story, you might have a little bit of difficulty with Deathloop. From the get-go, there is no adjustable difficulty setting. Deathloop allows the player to be the assassin they wish to be. From a stealthy and cold-blooded assassin, or to a force-pushing, guns-a-blazing Rambo, the player is free to tackle the multitudes of battles or problems they come across, in any way they wish. That being said, you may run into different and varying difficulties. Enemies punish you really hard for finding them in groups, while running into unsuspecting turrets and mines, or a combination of everything, can easily spell out the end for you. Not to mention, the Visionaries are already highly guarded with enemies and are no pushovers themselves. They are incredibly strong. With each of the Visionaries' demise, the game gets progressively more difficult. Though it should be fairly easy for the player who can adapt well to the system and the game, casual gamers that just want to pop heads and damn all consequences may find a very large hurdle to jump over. Though it won't be impossible, just know that the game will challenge you in multiple ways and punish you for the mistakes that you make whenever you find yourself tripping. All in all, Deathloop is a very, very fun shooter with an interesting balance of multiple genres and mechanics in a compelling and entertaining way. Especially if you enjoy an interesting plot with charming characters, satisfying gunplay, simple but fun to mess around superpowers, and like a good challenge, Deathloop might just be the game for you. Hope you all found this video helpful. Don't forget, you can watch me live streaming on Twitch typically every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at around 9 p.m. Pacific time, where I stream a variety of games including Monster Hunter, Apex Legends, and of course, Deathloop. That's it for me, Cart Masters. Until next time, get mad, get sad, have fun, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye! Easy!